We've reached the All-Star break. In fact, as we're recording, the All-Star game is happening. We are going to look forward to the second half and take a look at our confidence indexes in the offense, starting rotation, and bullpen. This is Locked On Twins.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, hello, and welcome back to another edition of Locked On Twins. I'm your host, Brandon Warren. You can unfollow me on the tweets at Brandon_WARNE. Been watching the Twins for 30 years, covering them for about half that long. And one thing I would love to do someday, it is get into that magical organization that Dave Brown belongs to. Dave, tell him what that means. Answer Dave Brown on the tweets, by the way.
Well, I'm not really a member of any golf club or any private. Oh, you mean the Baseball Writers Association?
Ideally.
Yeah. Well, get down to the. You know what you need to do, Brandon? You need to get down to St. Paul and interview that dude who just got there from the minor leagues. One Zebby Matthews. Go get him.
Zebulon. Yeah. So Dave is in the BBWAA, been covering.
Oh, sorry. I was supposed to introduce myself. Yeah.
Allow me to reintroduce myself.
I'm Dave Brown. I'm in the Baseball Writers Association. I have been since 2012. Been my first game, I was probably seven. Yeah, I was 7 years old, and I saw the White Sox and Royals play. Nice. And then I've been a baseball writer since after that, since like 1998. So those are my bona fides.
98's the first MLB game I went to. I was 12, and Nomar Garciaparra hit a home run, and
that's late to go to an MLB game.
I live so far away from the ballpark, though, and my favorite memory is Hector Carrasco out in the bullpen holding a lady's baby during the game, because that's just how it was. Like, we snuck down to like the second row over the bull. Like, if you remember, the bullpens were on the field, the Metrodome, and
it's so just like Wrigley Field.
We were just sitting there, not quite in fair territory like the old days of Polo Grounds. But anyway, he held this lady's baby for like a half inning, and it was...
So she could go to the bathroom?
Nope, she was just sitting there. It was something, man. But anyway...
I don't know if they're insured for that.
Probably not. And in play, that's a little terrifying. But...
Good old number 58, I want to say, Hector Carrasco, I think.
Yeah. He was a two-time twin? He was a two-time something else. But... maybe Angel. I don't know. But anyway, thanks for making Locked On Twins your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, give us a 5-star review if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that good stuff. As part of the Locked On Podcast Network, we are also your team every day. This episode brought to you by Booking.com. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your rivals. Check out Booking.com for your stay today. And you can catch every pitch of the Twins' hometown broadcast with Chris Atterbury and a rotating cast of characters on SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search Twins. As we are in the break, we will not have live action until Saturday. Twins will be in Milwaukee. It's Pablo. It's Freddie Peralta. First pitch, 6:10 p.m. At American Family Field, I believe it's called now, the former park. So,
stay away from the escalators.
It's not great. Pablo and Peralta, Joe Ryan and Savali, the newly acquired Aaron Savali. And then we were discussing
when the moon hits your eye like a big baseball fly, that's Savali.
Yeah, you said we were going to sing the Star Spangled Banner. I think we'll save everybody from that. And then Twins head east
today, maybe.
Philly. Yeah,
it'll happen though.
Wheeler, Suarez, and Nola. So about the best you can get from them. I know you said Suarez isn't pitching well lately, but it'll be Ober, SWR, and Paddock. So that's going to be a unique challenge, but we'll see what happens there. Today, we are talking about our confidence index for the Minnesota Twins going into the second half. I got a pretty hot take for the second half Twins that I'm going to save for perhaps our next episode.
What a tease.
What a tease is right. But, I was thinking we'd start off with starting pitchers. So for me, on a scale of 1 to 10, or I guess technically 0 to 10, The starting pitcher confidence index for me out of 10 is 5.5. And by the way, this idea was conceived of a conversation I had with a friend, actually a loyal listener, Travis Owney. So if Travis is listening this time, appreciate you. But he asked me
listening.
Right. He asked me my confidence level in this team. And I kind of was like, okay, well, this is what I think of the starters, relievers, and offense. And it's pretty wide variation of the three. But for starters, 5.5. I need to see more from Pablo. I think we all agree. I love what I've seen from Joe Ryan, borderline all-star. I certainly like the good of Bailey Ober. We'll see what the downside is and how often he touches that. Paddock has been an entirely enigma. And Simeon Woods-Richardson has been good, but has any of the three guys scheduled to start in Philadelphia been someone that I'm going to feel good about putting on the mound in a playoff game? No. So I'm at a 5.5. Mr. Dave Brown, where are you in your confidence index?
So you don't have confidence in Ober in a playoff game? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know if I have confidence in Ober or SWR or Paddock. I think Ober would be the top of those, but I'm still not sure.
It's a telling. I mean, you are entitled to your feelings. If we're entitled to anything,
but they didn't trust him last year in a start.
That was a long time ago last year.
Sonny Gray was
trusted Randy Dobnak, and he didn't deliver, so to speak.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. It wasn't Uber Eats unless you're the Yankees offense.
Well, you gave it. There wasn't Uber Eats because they wouldn't let him. You gave him a 5.5.
By the way, I said Randy Dobnak's rap name is Bailey Uber.
That's pretty.
It's not that funny. I'm sorry. Anyway.
Randy Dobnak's mustache chastised me for saying that I thought that's a Twitter person. Yeah. Chastised me for saying not the real mustache. I did not get a DM from an actual mustache for saying that I had more confidence in Simeon Woods-Richardson starting a playoff game than I did in Dobnak. He's like, that's not real bright. I'm like, whatever, Harry.
Wait, Randy Dobnak now or Randy Dobnak 2019? I mean, both technically, right?
I don't know. Maybe
either way. I mean,
now you're splitting hairs.
I mean, I thought though
because it's a mustache.
I thought that his ground ball profile did make some sense in Yankee Stadium. At the end of the day, though, I mean, it's still the Yankees, and it was him or Jake Odorizzi. Odorizzi's a fly ball guy. Start him at Target Field. There was at least some wisdom in it, but yeah, it did not go well. Anyway, back to the starters. I'm sorry.
No, I don't accept your apology. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, it's fine.
I have some confidence, like a little bit of confidence in Simeon Woods-Richardson. I think he's. I like how he pitches. I like how he competes.
Mm-hmm.
He puts a little thought into it. There's a little art there. There's a little science, a little math. He doesn't throw the hardest pitches in the world. He doesn't get the lack of swings and misses sometimes is troubling as far as a playoff game goes.
Yeah.
Ober, I'm ready for Ober to start a playoff game. Absolutely. I think that though the Twins, I would have more confidence in them if they, like I've said a million times before, went out and got some kind of better starting pitcher than what they have. Certainly someone better than Paddock, who I don't. Although you complain about Paddock, and you really don't want him to start a playoff game, and you look up and he's given up 2 runs in 5 innings, which is not great, but it's not the end of the world either. So
yeah, Paddock got Frisco, right?
Yeah, and I don't know. Although I don't know if that's what would happen in the playoffs. I don't know if the leash would be that long. If
I just wanted to make a pun, it was a bad one.
That's all right. Well, I'm trying to stay on task here because it's easy for us to get off task. Ober, I am. If you want to, I'm a 7 in my confidence on Ober. I'm a 5 on Woods-Richardson. I'm a 2 on Paddock. And as far as the whole group, I'm maybe a 6. I didn't realize. I thought it would be integers only, so I'm not ready to go with a half. but I'll go a half more than you on the starters' grades. So I'll say 6.
I think SWR against the Mariners, who strike out like 4 times an inning, would be a good matchup. But what I like
a lot of drop thirds.
You're right. What I liked most recently about SWR was his changeup looked to be fading really well. And I anytime a guy has a really, really good changeup, it just makes me excited because it's a sneaky swing and miss pitch. Everybody talks about the slider and curveball and split and all that stuff. But the changeup, to me, when it's well executed, is just a very aesthetically pleasing pitch that, I was spoiled as a kid. Brad Radke had a good changeup, and then Johan Santana had an otherworldly changeup. So that has kind of put my level of enjoyment of changeups on a whole nother level.
Yes. And like I said, my overall grade for these, not grade, but the confidence level would be 6. Although I don't know if that adds up now that I'm thinking about it. I'd have to do the math. Is it possible that it could be more? It might be a 7, but I still want them to trade for somebody.
I think you come out to about a 6 based on listening to you, which, it sounded like
I'm glad somebody does.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hey, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about relievers. And I think people might be surprised at how high I am on the relievers. I don't know how high you're going to be on them, but I got to
get high.
Yeah, let's do it. Well, hey, let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll dive into the pen. Well, we got to talk about FanDuel. We love sports, and we love them so much we don't want them to stop, but our wishes are not always taken into account. NBA, done. NHL, done. NFL, not quite there yet with training camp. Still a little ways to go. There's fewer games, fewer sports, and they are not sportsing just like we want them to. FanDuel, though, keeps us in the sports that are still going whenever we want. All we have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime we're in the mood. So this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers, not just the newbies, with a boost or a bonus every single day. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head on over to FanDuel.com/lockedon and start making the most of your summer. It's too late to bet on the All-Star game. I mean, I guess unless you're listening to this as it comes out and they do something live, you could do that. But there's going to be baseball coming here pretty dang soon. Beyond that, there's Olympics. I don't know if they let you bet on Summer League NBA because that would probably not be a great idea. But get your Bronny James fix in if you must. FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. And PrizePicks is also a DFS app that we love very, very much. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. And it's the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS because you're not competing against others. You are just competing against the numbers. You pick more than, you pick less than on 2 to 6 stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. You can get in on the daily action with your friends and join the community. It's the PrizePicks community. It's a brotherhood and a sisterhood. It's a family. It's not quite like Olive Garden, but you know what I'm talking about. If you're looking for promotions, PrizePicks has you covered every week. You can lower player stat projections on Tuesdays to help your lineup hit, or, hey, losing lineups on Fridays, you can get your entry fees back. And even though NBA is over, WNBA is still going strong. You got the rookies like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. You got Nafisa Collier, Kelsey Plum, Brianna Stewart, lots of superstars. You can win up to 100 times your money watching them ball out. You only need to bet $10, and with as few as 4 correct picks, you could turn that into a grand, 1,000 with that 100-time multiplier. I made my first $10 deposit and received an instant $10 bonus. If you have the skills, you can make a play for a shot at turning your $10 into 1,000. So download the PrizePicks app today. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB. It's all one word on PrizePicks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy with PrizePicks. All right, Mr. Dave Brown, we are into the bullpen, and I want you to go first.
Well, you know what? I'm probably vulnerable against left-handed pitching. Oh, I see what you mean. You want me to – my confidence in the bullpen, I don't want to – you sort of teased everybody before
as one does.
As one does with your, you've got a very high confidence in the bullpen. I kind of do too. Not necessarily in any of the left-handers, but the let's just say the before guys, or maybe it's the after guys. I forget exactly who those guys are, but
the lefties are befores. Let's just say that.
Right. The lesser known right-handed guys are good against left-handed batters. There's not a big split interval. I really like the Twins bullpen at the beginning of the year. I'm hopeful that Brock Stewart can come in, but I'm a 9 with my confidence in the Twins bullpen. I would say it would be nice if they landed someone like Tanner Scott, or he doesn't really have to be left-handed. The only good thing about adding someone like Scott is I would feel more confident that Rocco would feel like, well, I have to use a lefty here, even if Cole Sands, who's been pretty good against lefties, isn't the guy, because he's right-handed and that's dangerous somehow. So it would be nice if they added a lefty, but they should not put too many trade resources into adding a relief pitcher, as long as there's not more injuries to the pen. So I'm a 9 with the bullpen. I think it's the best part of the team and one of the best parts of any team.
Well, and when I think of this bullpen, I think of the overall depth of it. I mean, Cole Sands' numbers, his ERA was up over 4 for a bit. I think it's close to or under 3 now. But you got your FIP and your xFIP and all that stuff that say he's a lot better than that. A lot of strikeouts, no walks. He's been prone to a little blow up here or there that's kind of made his numbers a little off. But you've got Alcala, who they seem to trust, Griffin Jax, and Joan Duran. I mean, Jax is having the best season of a Twins reliever, and I don't think that's even debatable. And then, you consider Stewart coming back, Topa possibly in the mix. When I think about trades, I struggle with the idea that, like, who would I ship out? Am I confident that Caleb Thielbar can't figure it out down the stretch and be a better option than whoever they might trade for? Again, part of this might be tinged in the fact that I was all in on Jorge Lopez. The numbers were good. He was so nasty. And then the second he was traded, he seemed to fall apart and has not come close to that since in multiple stops. I mean, he's been Miami, Mets, he's with the Royals now, I think. So he's been with
the Royals, but I don't think he's with the Royals.
Maybe it's the Cubs.
Yes, that's what he is. That's where he is.
He's been everywhere, man. Anyway, he that kind of tinges or puts casts a pall on the idea that I would trade for reliever. And honestly, do you see a way for Caleb Thielbar to work his way back into the circle of trust in the last couple months this year?
Without looking like so close at what he's doing, possibly. There's enough time. They have enough other relievers in the bullpen. They have enough wiggle room with, making the playoffs, making a push for, I don't know if we can say the phrase balls to the wall, but they don't have to win all the rest of their games to get back in the playoffs. Morocco still has some time to tinker, and to Pete Mackey also has some time to see if he can make the best version of Caleb Thielbar that we can see at 37. So I think there is time. There's time, brother. But, Okert Thielbar's not striking anybody out. Okert isn't really either. Funderburk's got poor command. I mean, I could see where they would be very interested in adding to the bullpen, especially with a left-hander. But I look at the cost for Hunter Harvey, and it makes me worried a little bit. Now, I know not everybody's number 2 prospect is like Kansas City Royals, who don't have a great farm system right now. But still, for a prospect and a sandwich compensation pick for Harvey, who's still not super established as a guy who's had repeated success.
He's not as yet. He's not
had great stuff.
1992.
But he's had great stuff forever.
Yes.
And it took him forever to be healthy. So he's healthy and he's still got great stuff. His results are still, if that's what the cost is, I would much rather like double that and find a starting pitcher somewhere. So honestly, in the trade market.
Steven Okert has a 3.86 ERA, almost a strikeout per 9, 3.5 walks per 9. And I still have no confidence when he comes into the game. And so I'm not saying it's fraudulent. I don't want to be a jerk or anything like that, but I put no stock in those numbers. If you were looking for a guy to trade for and you saw those numbers, you'd be like, hey, that guy might be all right.
Yeah.
No. I'm a 7.5. I forgot to say that as we get ready to go into our last break here. But part of what I wonder about as, if Stewart comes back full throttle, that moves me up to like a 9. If Topa comes back, you're pretty much a 10. But you also have options where if you trade for someone who's going to start a playoff game for you, or at least will bump someone out of the rotation, which I guess would have to, by definition, you have the options of Chris Paddock, Louis Varland, David Festa, and even the recently promoted Zebulon Matthews. You have some options to have some firemen come out of the bullpen who have not been there for the bulk of the season. I just think they have enough bodies in place to do it internally so that they can focus their efforts on the rotation, which to a man is the most important thing they need to address between now and 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even though I would still like them to add another right-handed hitter or some hitter against left-handed pitching for the long haul, I would agree with you that the starting pitching is the one. It's not bad. It's not great. It could be better. And I just, I think that the Twins still have a really good opportunity to make a lot of noise in the playoffs. And the quickest way to make the most noise is to add a starting pitcher.
I agree. All right, we'll take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll wrap things up with the offense and get out of here. But we'll take a break. This episode of Locked On Twins is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. Summer travel is heating up. I, for one, am heading out west here at the end of the month into early August. And I know, Dave, you're traveling as well. Whether it's for baseball games, family vacation, whatever it is, you can explore those U.S. cities you've always wanted to, and you could even go to the rival cities, Detroit, Milwaukee, Chicago, other ones that need not be named. But no, we love Kansas City, Dave. Sorry, I'm trying not to be a jerk about that. But with hotels, bed and breakfasts, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com, you might just find your perfect stay, even in your baseball rival city. I'm headed to Portland. At least that's where we're flying in. And then we're driving down the coast, going to go see the ocean, stay on the coast. So it should be fun. Dave, what's your vacation look like?
Portland also, but the other one. Maine and Boston is on the and possibly Canada if I can persuade my wife to drive.
Because you're not allowed to drive in Canada?
That's not what I meant. I meant for us, for anybody to drive us. It's 4 hours from our place in Maine. So, and it's like, yeah, you want to get, we want to see the Atlantic time zone and another country. It depends. We'll see. We'll see how many waterfalls we can find along the way and light towers.
Okay, well, don't go chasing those waterfalls because a wise.
That's the thing. That's what the song says.
30 years ago told us not to. Anyway, the right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rivals. Book today on Booking.com or on the site or in the Booking.com app. It's Booking.com, Booking.yeah. All right, Dave, we're coming down the home stretch here, and we're talking about the confidence index for the offense. I'm going to just pull the Band-Aid off. And again, this is health willing. So forecasting injuries, I'm not really in the business of doing that. And that could take a big chunk out of this. But assuming Carlos Correa is healthy, assuming Byron Buxton stays relatively healthy, assuming Royce Lewis comes back and isn't immediately hurt again, I'm a full 10 on this offense if they're at peak efficiency because they are deep. They can come at you 1 through 9, especially if Ryan Jeffers is starting at catcher. And no disrespect to Christian Vasquez. His wife is lovely. His family is lovely. But certainly at the plate, he's not done the damage you would hope for this year. But when you have Edouard Julien trying to rule again at St. Paul and for the most part turning things around, and Jose Miranda has been a revelation in Royce Lewis's absence, and even when Royce Lewis has been around, Brooks Lee looks to be the real deal. He did, I think, kind of cool off here, which is to be expected. Honestly, it's hard for me to not say that this offense, I know they're going to hit the skids again, and there's going to be times where you're frustrated. Offenses are inherently frustrating because they fail more than they succeed. But when I look at this offense, it's a 10 for me. It's so deep, so strong. You've got guys who do a little bit of everything. And there's even guys who are on the outside looking in. I still believe in Alex Kirilloff, Edouard Julien, and a few other guys. I'm excited to have a guy like Matt Wallner hitting 7th, 8th, or 9th.
That's true. With Wallner reconstructing his confidence and his swing, or his batting stance anyway, down at AAA, he's been really good since he came back. I guess I have some reservations overall just because, no offense is perfect or always on, but they do seem streaky. And if you get bad streaky at the wrong time, that will end your season pretty quick. So I'm gonna give them an 8 out of 10 as far as how confident I am. And some of that is, I want the timing to be right for Royce and for Carlos Correa's plantar fascism to not be there. But they're a little different when Ryan Jeffers is hitting, and it's now been a couple of months since Ryan Jeffers was hitting. So I think that would be, for him to get right, that would be a great thing. For Max Kepler to be right, I still say that there is some kind of looming, lurking injury issue in the head and shoulders back area for Kepler, because he was going great there for a while. So I've got some reservations here. I'm not going to give him a 10. I'm just not. You're going to have to do that. I'll give him an 8 though.
So your reservations are not with booking.com, but no,
I've used them before though, and I would again.
Awesome. Yeah. I love the depth of the offense. I will, though, again, the reservations I have, or the concessions that I'll make, are, if you get cold at the wrong time, anything can happen. But I just think if you have guys active, someone's going to pick up and carry this offense. They have 7, 8, 9 guys who can carry an offense at any given moment. If you get a couple of those guys clicking at the same time, I mean, you're scoring 6, 7, 8 runs a night, and you are also equipped with a starting staff that, when supported like that, looks a lot better. The bullpen has been, far more often than not, I think, quite good. So I think a lot of the confidence index stuff also stems from how good the offense is. It's obviously a two-way game. And so if the team is hitting, you're not as worried if your starting pitcher goes 3 earned in 6 innings. To you and me, that might not seem bad. Well, by ERA, that's 4.5, but it's a quality start. And so, it can be easy to get kind of tied up in the numbers and what they mean. But if you can get your offense doing what it's supposed to, everything else kind of takes care of itself.
It is funny, though. We talk about depth and, how they can come at you a number of different ways with a number of different guys. And I think that the versatility that the Twins have as one of their strengths is something that will come in handy in the playoffs when you are changing pitchers a lot, probably. That there are a couple guys that you might expect to go deep into games that you'd have to face as far as pitchers go. But mostly what you're going to have to worry about is teams with, deep bullpens or piggybacking or whatever, and lots of different lefty-righty combinations. The Twins have the depth and the versatility to come at that very well. I think that would serve them well. But if you look at look at what happened to that depth in the waning days of the first half. You had Vasquez playing third base for a day, and then they called up another catcher, and they didn't really have anybody. It's just funny how fleeting all that stuff can be. So, but like, injuries can happen to any team. It's just a matter of timing. As we said about Brock Stewart, as we said about Royce, are they going to be healthy in October? We're just going to roll the dice on that. And if they are, I like the Twins' chances.
Yeah, and that's a dice or die that every team is rolling. Yeah, we didn't even mention Willie Castro, who's kind of the linchpin of that versatility.
How could you not mention All-Star Willie Castro?
Well, because he was late to the party. But you know what? That was a cool thing to see Rocco tell him, wake him up in his hotel room and all that fun stuff. But hey, Dave, that's about all we have time for. If people are looking for the rest of this show or the rest of the week, we'll have some other stuff. I got a bold second half thing to say about the Twins. And again, I think
with the tease.
Yeah, I think that'll be our next show. So
all right.
He's Dave Brown. I'm Brandon Warren saying thank you so much for watching and or listening to Locked On Twins. And we'll see ya
tomorrow night.